No, I don't know what I expected.
Talk about it, get some heat.
If you are a part of fandoms and you like to enjoy a lot of the things that come with fandoms, i.e., fan art, fan fiction, fan videos, edits, and whatnot, especially in regards to fan fiction, um, I'm sure many of you guys are familiar with Dead Dove. Now, if you are an avid fanfic reader like I am, you might come across the tag quite a bit. Now, where does this tag come from? Just a little spill of where this actually comes from. It originated from a meme referencing the 2003 Arrested Development episode Top Banana, in which Michael Bluth opens a paper bag labeled Dead Dove Do Not Eat, and upon discovering that there is in fact a dead dove inside the bag, he says in deadpan, I don't know what I expected. And listen, people of many fandoms took that and ran with it. Uh, and it has infiltrated fandom spaces, mainly in fan fiction. And a lot of people use this tag. Originally, it was really used for like explaining how there are there's like content in a story that is morally gray, could be problematic, you know, but it's not going to be condemned inside the story. And that meaning has kind of evolved. Like, people still use that meaning, but it's kind of evolved into like more like a warning label. And there has been many a back and forths about whether that tag within itself, Dead Dove Do Not Eat, is a good enough warning for dark themes and content, like really violent dark themes, because like I think some people get it misconstrued that it's just like, oh, aha, just like a little slight, oh, there's gonna be fighting, oh, dead up. Like, no, that's not usually what type of content people who use the tag uh make or create. I personally believe if you're gonna use dead dove, you still have to add other tags. I don't think that's a good enough warning, cause like, I don't know, there's a lot of different, it's not one specific thing. There's a lot of different tags and concepts that are very dark and icky. Just a lot of things that, you know, a lot of people won't be comfortable with. So you can't just say dead dove and expect people to know. So anyway, I say all that to say I'm gonna be ranking I'm gonna be ranking some dead dove tropes. And actually I might do a part 2 to this, because there's another um tier list that I've seen um that's basically Dead Dove. Is the title isn't Dead Dove, but it's basically that. It's more about ship pairings, not about specific ships, but like different tropes within ships. So I might do that. And honestly, I've done these types of tier lists before with like my best friend, but it was different because we combined our answers. Basically, like, we did one tier list and like had to come, because there were some things we completely agreed upon and some things we completely disagreed upon, so like we kind of just had to compromise. But this is one I'm doing by myself, so this is like all me. And even these names, me and my best friend created. So the first tier, which is gonna be like the one that's not so bad in my opinion, or like just something that I wouldn't mind reading, I guess, you know what I'm saying? So it's so bad my eyes can't look away. It's like where it's so like like it's bad and you know it's bad, but you just can't stop reading. That's what I'm talking about. Now the next one, I'm entertained. It's like you know that you shouldn't be entertained by this, but you're entertained anyways, and you're just like, am I going to hell for this? You're just like, I don't know. I'm entertained though. It's not, this is insane, but I'm entertained. Now the middle tier is, how did we get here? I came up with this title because I don't know if you guys know the song Decode by Paramore, but that's always stuck in my head. But yeah, literally, how did we get here? There's some stories where you're reading and there something comes out of the blue and you're just like, how did we get here? How did we arrive? What happened to the original plot of the movie? Like, I'm not understanding. Second last is Mommy, I'm scared. Mommy, I'm scared. That's how I read it. Literally that. Mommy, I'm scared because, like, girl, what are we doing here? And last but not least, firing squad. There are some things, because, like, honestly, a lot of these different tropes and tags are very morally gray, very problematic, very just like, side eye. However, if with some of them, if done well, it can be, entertaining, it could be interesting, it could be intriguing, like so bad you can't take your eyes off them. But then there's some that no matter how well it's written, I don't care, I'm just not with it. Firing squad. Like, I cannot condone it. If it's like written in a way where there is no condemning the situation. I don't know if that makes sense, but like there's just certain things where I'm like, I can't let that slide. If this person's not going to jail, I can't let that slide. So anyways, let's get started. First up, oh my god. We have age gap. Age gap. Huh. Some people take it too far with age gaps, honestly. Some people take it too far. I'm torn because sometimes it can be honestly, this is one thing me and my best friend disagreed on because my best friend likes age gaps for the most part and usually can like let it slide, but for me it gets really sticky. It gets really sticky if the age gap is like more than 5 years apart. I'm usually not feeling it, and that's even sticky too because like say one person A is like 17, 18 and below, and then the person B is like 5 years older than them. That's like I don't really mess with that. So I'm honestly it's hard for me to like let this slide, so I'm gonna say it's gonna either be Mommy, I'm scared or How Did We Get Here, because like honestly, Mommy, I'm scared. Because honestly a lot of the age gaps are just like gapping. A lot of the age gaps are gapping, and I get that's the point, but like that's just me. I can't. I personally can't do it. Next we have office slash boss. So I'm assuming like maybe your coworker in the office or just your boss in the office or whatever. This is not too awful. It's definitely giving unprofessional. It's definitely giving I hold this power over you. It can definitely turn into that very quickly. It can turn into blackmail real quick, but um it's not too horrible, honestly, when you're looking at this whole list. It's one of the least things that are like to worry about. But honestly, personally, I'm not really into the whole office boss, whatever. There's another thing on this list that's kind of like a very popular trope that I'm also not like super enamored by, but we'll get to that. Office X Boss. I mean, if done well, it can be entertaining, but a lot of the times it's just not for me. But I'll just keep it at I'm entertained because there are some that I've read that be like, ah ha ha, this is entertaining. What does this say? Does this say BroCon? It's giving pedophilia and it's also giving incest. Cause bro, do they mean bro con as in brother con? Firing squad. And listen, that's another thing I've disagreed on with people is incest. Just any type of incest. Maybe because I have a lot of siblings and I'm the oldest too. I can't, in no matter what shape or form, I just can't do it. I can't do it. Firing squad. Respectfully, firing squad. Cheating. Cheating is the next one, and I feel strongly about cheating. I really do. Now, if it's in regards to the main pairing, honestly, it's giving firing squad because, like, how dare you? I can't do the whole, like, for me, in my opinion, there is no redemption arc for a cheater. Respectfully. There is no, and I don't want people, because some people will be like, oh, but what if they had to, what? No. And some people like to bring up, oh, say character A was assaulted or something, but they're in a relationship with someone. That's not cheating. That's just violent. That's just assault. That's a crime. That's not cheating. No. Cheating is when someone makes a conscious effort, a conscious decision to break your partner's trust. Now, if you're in like a different, if you're not monogamous, if you're like in a poly agreement or whatever terms you've agreed to, if you break those terms, babe, that's cheating, and I don't fuck with that. So it's low key giving firing squad. I like, actually though, some people might think I'm being dramatic, but like, dead ass, I don't think there's no redemption. That's what I'm saying. It's like, at this point, once you cheat, it's like, I don't really see a redemption for you. Next caller, bodily excretion. Yeah, we're gonna just go here. And by the way, I'm not putting these in any particular order. I'm just gonna just drag them into wherever they fall, that's wherever they fall. It's not in any particular order. Bodily excretion, I'm just not a fan. Like, the whole shitting and scatting, nope. Throwing up, nope. Fucking water sports, nope. I'm just not into it. Blood, nope. Even spitting, honestly. I'm not a fan of like a whole bunch of just excess amounts of saliva. I know people, listen, if you get to know me, you know I'm very just particular about a lot of things, and saliva, just excess saliva, grosses me out. So just no to bodily excretions of any kind. For the most part, it's a no for me. Feminization. That can borderline into I can never say that word. You guys know what I'm talking about. Feminization. You know, if written well, it can be entertaining. It's not bad. It's not that bad, I guess. Like, yeah, you know what? I'll put it here. Because you know what? If done well, it's so bad my eyes can't look away. It's like, oh, I kind of like this. I don't know. Ooh, girl. Furry and bestiality. No. It's the bestiality for me. Because what are we beasting? Who's the beast? Okay, honestly though, I've talked about this with my best friend when we were like getting to this point about the differences. Cause like, listen, they don't have monster fucking on this list, but I know that's a big thing too. And personally, I'm not into that. However, I asked the question, do vampires and like demons and like werewolves and stuff, does that count as monsters in like bestiality? Because a lot of the times people put those supernatural beings into different categories, like werewolf would have its own trope category. Like, especially when I look at these types of tier lists and stuff. And even tags, a lot of the times, like werewolves and vampires and succubuses and incubus, or, you know, etc., usually have, and yeah, just other monsters would usually have their own type of tags. Because even like sirens and mermaids, wouldn't those also count as like monsters or beasts? I don't know. So I kind of get that line blurred. You know, so honestly, me and my friend came to the conclusion that since those are in separate tags, we're just gonna not count it as like monster fucking and bestiality, because it's usually in its own category. And I guess they can be like dubbed as supernatural beings instead. I don't know. But I mean as you can see, the picture is freaking Judy and Nick from Zootopia, so if that's not saying something. I mean, when I see furry and bestiality, I immediately think of just like straight up animals. So I'm gonna say firing squad, because you will not be catching me fantasizing about fucking a dog or some shit. Like I don't know. Like I don't know what that really entails. I don't really read stuff like this. Furry. I mean, and I also asked, do hybrids count? Because I guess that does kind of. I guess that could be that, but I don't know. It's like, I don't know. Because when I think of this, I immediately think of like full-fledged animals, like just full on your little dog Timmy Tam that you know, yeah, that's like what I think. Like, I don't know. So that's like kind of it's blurry for me, but I'm just gonna say firing squad for now, because what I'm thinking is like straight up animals, and that's a no for me. But if you're talking about hybrids and stuff, or like other supernatural beings, that's kind of like a I'm entertained sometimes if done well, blah blah blah, yada yada. Do they have ABO on here? Because I feel like for some people that's also dead. Well, no, not dead dove. No. Oh no, they do. It's Omegaverse. Anyway, we'll get to that, because kind of can teeter that line, but we'll get to that. Bro, this is so small I can't even read. Any concept that Western fan cops cannot refuse. Oh, cannot and refuse to understand. Oh, I think they're basically saying that just any foreign concept, or foreign to Western um people and fandoms, that will not try to understand it. Um, um, but what does that entail? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just gonna say, mommy, I'm scared, because I don't know. I actually don't know what types of foreign concepts, like, what other concept? I don't know. We're just gonna leave it at that, because I actually don't know. Childhood friends to lovers? How is this dead dove? That's my first question. How is this dead dove? Childhood friends to lovers? How is that dead dove? I don't know. I don't know. We're just gonna put it in the top tier, because we love a good childhood friends to lover. That's fun. That's fun. Yeah, I don't know how that's dead dove, but okay. Unless they're talking about like childhood friends to lovers, but like they're still children when they fall in love, and it's about children in love. If it's that, I mean, that's kind of harmless, as long as they don't make it like really like uh NSFW, like, not, like smutty, and like I don't want to read smut about children. So if it's that, that's immediately going in fire squad. But I'm gonna assume it's harmless. Well, should I assume it's harmless? It's dead dove. I'm gonna assume it's harmless, because I'm just thinking like, yeah, I don't know. Next is grooming. Mm, okay. I was gonna put it in firing squad, but I'm gonna put it in mommy, I'm scared, for one reason. Because there has been a story, a Wang Xin story. I love Wang Xin, my favorite. I'm obsessed with them still and forever, I guess. Um, I read a Wang Xin story where basically, um, I don't, spoilers, if anyone hasn't read or watched MDZS and wants to, spoilers. Basically, canonically, Wei Ying dies. Okay, so in this story, when Wei Ying dies, Wang Ji, he made like a deal with like the heavens or some shit. I actually don't remember. He made some type of thing where basically they were able to be reincarnated, both of them. So that, well, like basically their lives were able to restart from when they were children, but Wang Ji's mind was still his grown mass man self. Like he was still an adult in his head, but he went back to to his child body, basically. So did Wei Ying, but Wei Ying didn't have his adult mind. So basically, he was just trying to wrong rights and blah yada yada yada. And I guess that can technically be grooming, even though amongst throughout the story, eventually Wei Ying did unlock his memories from his past life. So yeah, that's why I put him on as scared, because I actually really enjoyed that story. It was very entertaining. It wasn't like super like icky or anything. Like I mean, it technically was grooming, but it wasn't like, I don't know. It wasn't really for malicious intent though. You would need more context, honestly, but in my head it's not. It was fine. But yeah, in general, grooming is firing squad. But just because I've read stories like that, it's like, okay. Gore. I've also read a few gory type stories, even torturous. That sounds crazy to say, but like, it's more like, how did we get here? Because it's like, bro, what are we doing? It's not. There was some tours. It's like I don't know. It's kind of like adrenaline. Let's count how many times I say like Jesus. But I don't know. There's something very like intense. Something very intense about certain stories that are kind of gore heavy. Um, I'm squeamish, so I can't really stomach them all the time. But if done well, we love saying that. If done well, it can be entertaining and it can be like intense where you're just like holding your breath the whole time while reading the story. So I'm gonna just leave it at how did we get here? Because sometimes it shocks you. Cannibalism. I haven't read a story, I don't think, that has cannibalism. Have I? I don't know. I don't think I have. I don't think I will either, cause I'm not really a fan of that. Not really a fan of that. Is vampirism cannibalism? Does that count? I don't think so. But maybe it does, cause technically, okay, I know they're technically not humans anymore, but like, say you were a human that turned into a vampire and you're sucking people's blood, um, that's kind of giving cannibalism, borderline cannibalism. But I'm trying to make loophole and stuff. I know that's not what they mean. When people think cannibalism, they don't think of vampires. At least I don't think so. So I'm gonna say, mommy, I'm scared. Honestly, firing squad, but like, mommy, I'm scared. Incest, firing squad. Do I need to explain myself? Do I need to explain myself? No, I'm just not into it. Even stepbrother, stepsister, stepdad, stepmom, even those type of things, I'm just like, it's not really my cup of tea. It's not really my cup of tea. It's just not. Am I completely against it? If written really well, maybe. Because it's not biological when you're like a stepmom, stepdad, stepbrother, stepsister, blah, 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 whatever. However, it's just, I don't know. Something about it still makes me feel weird, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. Ooh, Stockholm syndrome. Oh God. Um, honestly, to be quite very honest with you, let's just leave it at ooh. It's like borderline. How did we get here? Or I'm entertained, because maybe I'm entertained. Let's just say I'm entertained because it's horrible. It's horrible. It's awful, and I'm like, damn. But it can be entertaining because it's just like, how are you gonna? It's just entertaining in a sense of like navigating the victim, like the dynamic between the victim and the predator or whatever the hell you want to call them. Um, like just navigating that whole dynamic. It's like, for me, I'm just like, how did we get here, and what are we gonna do to get out, babe? It's like, what are we gonna do to get out, babe? Um, Granted, a lot of dead dove, it's usually like without condemning the problem, but in my head, I'm just like, how are we gonna solve this? Like, because a lot of the times I don't want them to get like together or stay together or whatever the case is. Like, for example, I've read Painter of the Night and Jinx, and they're like horrible. Like, Soko and Jaekyung, they are horrible people. They're awful, terrible. I don't care what their backstory is, they're still awful. They're still terrible. And just because well, not even Jaekyung, he's still awful. Like, from the last update I've read, he's still awful to Kim Dan. Like, he's still awful. Anyways, but Painter of the Night. Sungho, yes, he turned around and stopped. Did he even? I don't even know. I guess he got a little better, but that doesn't excuse all the horrible shit he's done before to Nakyum. That's just me, though. Like, honestly, I'm not really rooting for them. Like, I'm rooting for them, but I'm not rooting for them because it's like, babe, he was awful to you, and he still kind of is, because I feel like what they have isn't love, it's just obsession, and I feel like Sungho is obsessed with Nakyum at this point, and Nakyum is just a victim of Stockholm Syndrome. But it's entertaining, so long story short, that's why I'm putting that there. Okay. Lolicon. Yeah, firing squad. I don't do that. What is this? It cut off, but this, I know it has something to do with little kids, and therefore firing squad. Because let me tell you, pedophilia to me is like one of the lowest lows, just one of the grimiest things you can commit. I'm just not a fan of it at all. I think that's even worse than incest, even worse than murder. Like, I just don't think, no, don't fuck with the children. Just don't do it. Please find someone your own age, Jesus, or at least of legal age. Even though you know how I feel about age gaps, still, at least someone of motherfucking legal age, Jesus. That's all I have to say about that. Loss of virginity. Is this dead dove? Like, what is up with that? What's dead dove about loss of virginity? I don't know. But I am one of those bitches that am thoroughly entertained by someone losing their virginity. I don't know. Something about it can be very entertaining. Like, I'm not a Puritan, but there is something entertaining about it. I will say that. Non-con and dub-con. Let's just say, how did we get here? And I say that because, if anyone has read MDCS, like read all the books, and you've read the last book, and you've read the incense burner spiel and some extra scenes, you already know. I don't have to explain, but you already know. And honestly, also, Wang Xin on, was it the Phoenix Mountain? I think that's what it was. What Wang, if you know. Let's just say that and keep it at that. So it's like, how did we get here? But at the same time, I can't look away because I'm like, huh. Like, okay, we're here. we're here. I don't know how we got here, but we're here. Omegaverse. If anyone knows me in real life, like if you're my friend, I live for that Omegaverse. I don't care what nobody says. Okay? I don't care what nobody says. I know it's crazy. I know. I know it's unhinged. I know this. But that's exactly why I can't look away. It's unhinged, it's crazy, it's wild. It's just something. And that's exactly why I can't look away. So that's why I'm gonna put it up there, because I love me some good ABO. I love me a good Omegaverse, and nothing can stop me. Period. And no one can stop that. Polyamory. I have no problem with polyamory. Do I typically read polyamory, poly ships? No. But if there was like a ship that I come to like in the future that so happens to be poly, I don't find a problem with that, as long as it's written well. It's either how do we get here, or I'm entertained. Let's just say I'm entertained. Because, I feel like it can be entertaining. It's not what I usually go for, but, I don't really have a problem with it or anything. Pseudo incest. They're saying pseudo, so um I'm assuming it's like step brother, step sister type shit. I actually don't know. Let me look it up, because honestly, let me let me just okay. Yeah, it's giving. Okay, I'm not gonna go firing squad because it's not biological per se, but I'm gonna go with mommy, I'm scared. It's not something I want to read ever, but like, you know. Um, bro, this is giving firing squad, firing squad. This is like the bro con. This is like, but sister incest. No. And what is this? Shotokan, I believe that's what this is called. No. Just no. Just no. Just no. Just no. That's all I gotta say. Here we are. This is what I was referring to earlier when I was talking about office/boss. Teacher X student is another ship. I mean, well, not ship, but another dynamic or trope, whatever the hell. That's very popular. A lot of people like it. And honestly, I don't really. I mean, it's not that I have a problem with it per se. I mean, I do. Like, if it's like college and college university, it's usually okay because they're usually of age. But anything else is giving no, because usually it's just not for me. It's just not for me. It doesn't really do anything for me. It doesn't titillate me. It just does nothing for me, honestly. Teacher X student doesn't do it for me. It just makes me feel yucky. It makes me feel grimy, like, ooh. I just, And honestly, I think it's worse than Office and Boss. Like, I'd rather watch, like, your Office Boss or whatever the hell. Than Teacher X student. It's just, like, if you like it, hey, if you like it, I love it. But for me personally, I usually avoid Teacher X X student, and I've always been that way. So it's giving mommy, I'm scared. Toxic and abusive. These are very triggering. They are. But in an odd way, I can't look away. But at the same time, they're like bad. Where I'm just like, ugh. It's kind of like the same with like, what is it called? Non-con and dub-con, where it's like, or no, what was I gonna say? Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like the gore and the non-con dub-con, where it's like, it's really bad, and you know it's bad, and you don't like it. And you're kind of like hate reading it, because you're just like, bro, what the fuck? It's like you're angry for them, for the victim. And it's also very triggering for me at the same time. It's just a lot going on in my head when I read these types of stories. But when done really well, it can be entertaining. But at the same time, it's kind of like the same thing with like Painter of the Night and like Jinx and stories like that, where it's like, um, very violent and very toxic and very abusive, and you're just like, oh my god, they do not need to be together. Like, Jesus, like, why are people making this seem like this is cute and romantic when it's not? But at the same time, it is kind of entertaining. You're just like, because you're like, not entertaining as if this is like ah ha ha hee hee funny, like entertaining as in you just like, you can't look away. You're just like, oh my god, what the hell is gonna happen next? Basically that. So that's kind of how I feel about that, even though it's like, ooh, how do we get here? Almost mommy, I'm scared, honestly. Yandere. What is this again? I'm pretty sure it's the crazy. Is it specifically a girl? Like that crazy girl that's like obsessive and like scary? Let me look it up, honestly, because I don't really read stories like this. Yeah, okay, yeah. Ooh, yeah. The super obsessive, possessive, violent, crazy bitch, basically. Okay. Well, you know, it's not really my cup of tea, but I can see how it can be entertaining if written well. Where it's like, ooh, crazy. I can't take my eyes off it. So I guess it's gonna be, how did we get here? How did we get here? But yeah, okay, we're done. This was fun, interesting. I love doing tier lists. It's always fun and interesting to see how I really think, because honestly, a lot of times my opinions change, honestly, depending on what I read, or I don't know, just depending on my experiences and just different things, just depending. And even on what other people say, I'm like, if they explain certain things well enough, it might change my mind, cuz I'm like, if you put it, when you put it that way. But yeah, most of the times it doesn't change. Like these, like the ones in the firing squad and even Mommy I'm Scared, a lot of the times those do not change for me. And I'm just like, that's just a hardcore no. But yeah, overall this is my ranking. And I'm probably gonna do a part 2 with the other, because it had other options. I mean, some of it was the same, but it was more thorough. I don't know, but I might do that too. But anyways, this is the list, and this is, if you want to do it too, this is the name.